Hello everyone, it's Quick Flash, back with a long overdue test build video. Haven't made one since 0.2.0, and we're already up to 0.2.30. So just quickly run through what's changed. For a while I was testing a complementary filter that combines the dterm and the it combines the gyro and the accelerometer data. I've since reverted that, went back, I've remade the calculations for dterm and iterm. Now it uses IDT, which is technically just the amount of time that has passed. Before it used just PID frequency, so whatever you'd set your gyro to, it would just assume that there was no jitter in your loop, and I've changed it so that it calculates it every time. Should make dterm a bit smoother. Updated feed forward to be calculated the same as well. I've made SPA. I've set it up so that that's per axis, and also changed the defaults for that, as you can see here. So now by default it does boost your P a little bit more on yaw, and then it lowers your I term, lowers it a lot more on yaw, and then boosts your D term a bit as you move your stick all the way. This bit of code that I added was, I got rid of integrated yaw, so integrated yaw is gone. Inside the mixer I added this. Basically it limits the motor output so that the motors can only change a certain amount. This is something from RaceFlight, so basically if your motors want to change just a really small amount, you just keep your motors the same. Then if they want to change a big amount, we limit that change so that you can't just go from 0 to 100 throttle in one loop, or just instantaneously. This prevents that from happening. I had to mess with the values a little bit as they didn't quite come over from RaceFlight, so that's what 2.5 and 2.6 were. I also messed around with the iterm. Does this one show it? No. I think it was 2.5. I messed around with the iterm a little bit. I did this here, which died in CI. As you can see, basically as your motors get saturated, or as the range, so the difference between your highest motor and your lowest motor gets bigger, your iterm accumulates less. And I tried to square that and increase I, and it didn't really work, so we got rid of that. I also added the gyro averaging filter, which is the same thing as witchcraft, just on the gyro. It's something that RaceFlight used to do. And then last thing that I added that was a decent bit of work was I've stuck I've made it so that all of the filters can work on a helio spring flight controller, and that just makes coding some things or messing around with filters a little bit easier. And then as well, I've made it so that all of your low-pass filters are set up per axis. So you have dterm, you have all your filters, but you'll have your dterm low-pass roll, pitch, and yaw. And actually before this update, your dterm low-pass 2 filter did absolutely nothing, so I've changed it so that it works. I've also removed the yaw low-pass filter, as it did nothing. I've removed the dterm notch filter. The reason I removed that one is because if you want to run a static filter, it's better to just stick it on the gyro rather than the dterm. And so I removed that from the dterm. You still have it on the gyro, but as you see, I've split it up so that your gyro and your dterm are now set up per axis. I've changed the defaults a little bit. These are the default filters. This is your witchcraft, your dterm low pass 1, dterm low pass 2, and then that's smart smoothing. And so now that we actually have the two filters working, the defaults are a lot less aggressive. Well, the lower dterm low pass filter doesn't need to be as low now that we have the dterm low pass filter 2 actually working, and now that we have gyro averaging and witchcraft and smart dterm smoothing. So I've just lowered the amount of filtering that the low pass filters do, just to show you kind of in here how things have changed in the GUI. Let's see. So if you actually come in here under PID tuning, you'll notice that this isn't working. So you can't set these filters with the GUI. It won't do anything. You can still do your EmuFlight. That one works. Your gyro notch filters work, and the gyro dynamic filter still works. Well, no, this filter doesn't actually work. I forget I said that. This one, when you set this one up, it only does roll. So that's not what you want. So you're going to have to come into the CLI. If you type get gyro, you'll see that we've got the gyro low pass roll, gyro low pass pitch, and yaw, and you've got to type those in yourself or do it in the OSD. All of this can be done in the OSD. There's the gyro average. Here we go. There's the gyro average filters as well. Those are set to default to 2. Maybe 3 is actually the default. I would just set it up to 2 on my rig. That seems fine for me. So you've got that, and then if you look at the dterm filters, you can see that the filters are split up: roll, pitch, yaw, and now the dterm low pass 2 filters actually do something, and we've got smart dterm smoothing per axis. So basically, I just split everything up per axis, made it work with helio flight controllers, and got gyro averaging filter working, and that's basically what has been changing. As well, I'd just like to point out that with these latest builds, I have been liking the dynamic filter less and less, and I have been using it less and less. So I actually don't use this on anything I fly anymore. I just don't. I just use instead those other filters that we have. If you got any questions, let me know. I'll do my best to answer them. But as always, thanks for flying EmuFlight, and have a good one.